Well, thank you very much, Coach. And Steve, how are you this week?
Oh, I'm just doing great. Thanks, John, for asking.
Well, good. Always a pleasure to talk with you again, folks. Steve Goldbloom, our local trusted advisor right there in the Seattle area. And you can get in touch with him at any point by calling 800-588-2176. That's 800-588-2176. Steve, I thought it might be helpful for folks if we talked a little bit about the notion of being a fiduciary as it relates to being a financial advisor. Can you educate us exactly what it means to be a fiduciary?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a great question, John. It's critical these days that people understand the difference. Uh, you know, let's say, to start off, a little background. As you realize, I'm registered in securities. I'm also licensed in insurance. And when you get to the word fiduciary, and specifically on how it works in the securities world, there's really two ways you can register for your securities. You can do it through what they call a broker dealer, and or you can do it through what they call the Registered Investment Advisory model, RIA model. And those are the two ways you can register. We are in the RIA model. What that means is we are fiduciaries. And the fiduciary role simply does this. It's a simple concept. It puts the client's interest first. As there's an article in the Wall Street Journal back in 2010, December 6th to say specifically. It says, what's number one for brokers? And it talks about how you put the client's interest first. Is that number one for everybody out there registered in securities? Absolutely not. What the difference is between a fiduciary standard and a suitability standard, in summary, fiduciary puts the client's interest as number one and works on a transparent basis and gives up the right to make a commission or a margin. I'm not saying a fiduciary can't be paid a fee for their service, but there'll never be anything hidden. It'll be completely transparent, and it'll always put the client's interest first. Now, listen, I have to tell you, many brokers may, in fact, they may look out for their client's best interest. And I quote that right from that Wall Street Journal article. That's absolutely true. But if they're not registered as an investment advisor, in addition to being registered as brokers, then they're not obligated. They're not legally obligated to act as a fiduciary. And that might mean that the investments that are being put in front of the clients are suitable. In other words, they take into account factors as the client's age, their goals, their risk tolerance, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the best things for them. When you're working with a fiduciary, they have to consider what's going to be best for the client, not just what company has incentivized them to put a particular product in front of them that may in fact be suitable. So the difference between fiduciary responsibility and working to a much lower level of accountability for the client's best interest, called suitability, it's been a battle for the SEC for some time now in trying to bring these two groups to the same fiduciary level. And frequently, you'll see things pop up. Just last month, the 401k rules that came out making exposure occur up to all the fees and what I'll call costs that may hit an employee and their 401k. Those are some much more stringent rules. They came from that fiduciary push by the SEC to get everybody out there to that level. Well, as I said, there are brokers out there that, may want to do the best for their clients, but if they're not registered as an investment advisor as well, then they're not legally obligated to act as a fiduciary. That brings that much lower level of accountability and suitability into the equation, meaning the client can end up with something that's suitable, but it may not be what's best.
Well, so is it fair to assume that most people who are a stockbroker, an insurance agent, a banker, maybe, most of these people do not have that fiduciary responsibility? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
From a percentage point of view, a large percentage do not. And as far as the specific numbers on it, don't have those handy at this moment. But I can tell you, if you get in a room with 50 or so professionals, it will not usually be the majority that are fiduciaries.
Certainly something that people need to think about, and be sure that you're working with somebody who does have your best interests in mind. Steve, what's the best way to find that out? Is it just a question that you ask of people that you're working with, or is there some research you need to do on your own?
A simple question when you're with the client, when you're with your advisor, are you a fiduciary? Are you operating in a fiduciary manner? Are you registered as an investment advisor? That is the question.
Well, do you find that most people who come to meet with you for the first time maybe have not been meeting with a financial advisor of any kind before, or maybe they have been working with somebody and have determined that maybe this person is not right for me?
Oh, many of our clients, and we actually have clients from both worlds, but speaking to the ones that do have a advisor, many times people come in and they just want a second opinion. They understand from one of their friends they've talked to who are a client of ours that we do operate as fiduciaries, and frankly, they're concerned to learn that there's a difference out there. Most people aren't aware that the person they're working with may not be a fiduciary. Then they start to understand how different financial products make it to different brokerage firm shelves. And I say shelves, I bring up the grocery store as an example. You may be with the understanding that many of the world has it. That shelf space in the grocery store is chosen very carefully by manufacturers. Who's going to pay for what shelf space to get their products on there? Well, the same idea comes with many brokerage firms where what particular mutual fund family or what particular investments have paid the most to get inside and be offered first in a particular suitability area. So I would say that most people that come to see us are either looking for advice for the first time. They've been what I'll call doing it yourself in those wealth accumulation years, and now they realize they're in the what I'll call phase two of their wealth life, where they're going to take income streams and they're going to do wealth distribution. And there's a lot more tax issues and it's very different working wealth distribution in those later years from 50, 55, 60 onward than it was accumulating the wealth those first 30 or 40 years of your of life. So either place, whether it's the person coming for the second opinion, who many times doesn't even realize their particular advisor is not a fiduciary until they talk to one of our clients and learn the difference, or that first timer who's been a do-it-yourselfer who realizes accumulating wealth is not the same when you're north of 55 or 60 that it was through your 20s, 30s, 40s, and early 50s.
All right. Now, this is a perfect spot for it right here. I want you to say something like, and there's so many people out there who just don't or haven't had the opportunity to sit down with somebody who is a fiduciary, who does have their best interest in mind. Here's what I'd like to offer for all callers who call in the next 15 minutes, and just go right into that offer.
Okay. And John, I got to tell you, there's so many people who haven't had an opportunity to sit down with somebody who's a fiduciary to understand what that actually means. So what we're going to do today is for all callers who call in the next 15 minutes, we're going to do a custom design for an exclusive one-page financial review that will indicate if you're in need of a full-blown financial plan. There's no obligation or cost for this review to any callers who call in the next 15 minutes, and they need to have at least $250,000 saved for retirement. It's an easy-to-understand one-page review that will help them take the mystery out of their financial planning and help them map out where they are now while we offer suggestions of what might be going forward. And I can tell you right up front, if you should stay exactly where you are, as a fiduciary, we'll tell you stay exactly where you are. You're on the right track. I want to let you know, though, we're also going to run a fee report. And I didn't say free report. It will be free, but we'll run a fee report, FEE report, to help you untangle what's working with your current planner or advisor and what it's actually costing you. I can't tell you how many times somebody sat down and explained what their costs were to me, and I said, okay, well, let's take a look. And they were quite a bit different because, again, suitability, fiduciary, two different levels of disclosure. And I don't mean you don't get a lot of books in the mail with some of advisors, but do you really read them? I want to tell you, by addressing your costs and fees, you'll be able to see what it is by protecting your retirement investments, keeping more of your money in your accounts. You could notice a whole new attitude in your retirement change, and it'll be for the better. While you're there, we'll also perform a tax analysis. We'll help you understand how you might possibly reduce your taxes and increase your cash flow. And while you're there, we'll do one more thing. We'll create a customized lifetime income plan, if it makes sense for you, with proven strategies and techniques which could turbocharge your retirement income, take the worry out of living in retirement, In short, we'll help you take the guesswork out of financial planning by helping you solving and determine your retirement income by utilizing a technique we call knowing your number or solving for income. However you want to look at it, we call it knowing your numbers. Hey, for callers who call in the next 15 minutes, this comprehensive financial review, we're offering with no obligation, and look forward to meeting some of you.
Folks, it really is a terrific offer. And again, that number to call is 800-588-2176. 800-588-2176. Steve Goldbloom is our local trusted advisor right there in the Seattle area. Well, stick around. We have more coming up right here on the Financial Safari, and we'll talk with Steve a little bit more later on in the show. But we'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay tuned. Okay. Well, Steve, one other thing I wanted to mention. I know you have some workshops coming up soon. Is that correct?
We do. We're over at a very nice local restaurant, actually, an excellent local restaurant here, right in the on the Kirkland-Bellevue borderline.
And right here.
John, should I say the name of the restaurant?
Maybe don't say it. It's always good to leave out some information so people have to call to find out more. But do say.
What are the dates for the next seminars?
Do say that, the seats are full right now, but we've reserved a few seats for radio listeners.
Okay, so hang on one second. I got to get the dates for the seminar. So we're talking about Tuesday the 9th. And Tuesday the 9th. And is Jennifer Johnson the 9th and the 17th? I'm just going to bring up the 9th and the 17th. And next 3 weeks on Tuesday, the 7th, Tuesday. Okay.
Let me just ask the question again so we can do it, have more continuity here.
Okay.
So, Steve, I believe you have some workshops coming up soon. Is that correct?
We do. We're going to be a nice local restaurant, and I mean a very nice local restaurant, both on Tuesday the 9th and Wednesday the 17th. On that Kirkland-Bellevue borderline, we're going to be at a very nice local restaurant, and we've actually reserved 5 seats. Our seminars are well attended. We reserve 5 seats for our listeners at today's show. So for those callers that come in, we do have 5 seats available at both the 9th and the 17th, and we may actually have one the week after because we have some spillover. We may open up another date. But I'll talk about those 2 dates for now, and the first 5 callers will be able to possibly get a seat at one of these seminars that are coming up, and we feed you really nicely while you're there.
And folks, if you'd like to find out any more about that, the number to call is 800-588-2176, 800-588-2176.